Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday. We appreciate you hanging out here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and we appreciate your patience this morning as we got some things set and ready to go here inside of the studios to start off the week. So we do appreciate that here on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on wakeupcalldt.com, where you're listening and you are watching on Facebook Live on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're connecting with the show today, we thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, we have our second piece of the ACC to get you ready for the college football season. You know that we had Atlantic Action Week with all 7 teams of the Atlantic Division. It is now time to bring you, which I'm very excited about, Coastal Cruisin Week. Duke, Georgia Tech, Miami, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, Virginia, and Virginia Tech will all be featured here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I had the honor and the privilege of being able to speak with all of these schools at the ACC kickoff, and you will get every single one of them here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. You will have the opportunity to hear from every single one of these 7 schools on Wake Up Call this week as we do the Coastal Cruisin' Week, bringing you Duke, Georgia Tech, Miami, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. So you are going to get today Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, and Virginia Tech inside of the Coastal Cruisin' Week. You're going to get the rivals from the state of North Carolina and the rivals from the state of Virginia, and those will both be coming up, or all of those should be, I should say, will be coming up today in the broadcast. Here in hour number 1, we'll have Duke first and North Carolina following them, and in hour number 2, we'll feature Virginia and Virginia Tech. And just so you know what that means is with Duke, you're going to hear from head coach David Cutcliffe. You'll also hear from quarterback Gunnar Holmberg, running back Mateo Durant, and defensive tackle Dwayne Carter. And then with North Carolina, you're going to hear from Mac Brown, the head coach of the team, and Tamon Fox, as well as Jeremiah Gemmel, the 2 linebackers that represented North Carolina in the ACC kickoff. And then with Virginia, you'll be hearing from Brennan Armstrong, their quarterback, as well as Keaton Thompson, their kind of jack of all trades. He's also a quarterback but plays wide receiver. Joey Blunt will be joining the show as well, safety out of Virginia, and head coach Bronco Mendenhall you'll hear from Virginia today. And from Virginia Tech, you'll hear Justin Fuente, the head coach, as well as Braxton Burmeister, their quarterback, James Mitchell, their tight end, and Shamari Connor, their defensive back. So plenty of conversations coming up today from the ACC as we kick off Coastal Cruisin' Week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Duke and North Carolina in hour number 1, hour number 2, Virginia and Virginia Tech. So very excited inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal coming to you with multiple locations in central and upstate New York. You could find Cafe Kubal by going to 401 South Salina Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 3501 James Street, all in Syracuse, as well as in downtown Syracuse. You'll find them inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, who we thank for everything they do for our children and our families. God bless. And may there be miracles done today. And also for the locations you'll find with Cafe Kubal out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. And, of course, you will find them in their newest location, which is their first ever drive-through location. And you will find them there at the drive-through location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road, Sweetheart Corners, is where you will find them as well. So make sure you head over there to their newest location for Cafe Kubal, which is their first ever drive-through location, which I'm ecstatic about. Been waiting for this for a long time, so you can go over there and see them there in North Syracuse. So with all of that being said, welcome to Wake Up Call. Welcome to being here with us. Thank you so much again for your patience this morning, and we appreciate you so much as we get set to unveil a lot of things here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, including an all-new partner that we are bringing on here to Wake Up Call that we'll talk about in just a little bit. So a lot of great stuff coming up here where sports meets life, and the rivalry in the state of North Carolina will be front and center, first and foremost, to start off Coastal Cruisin Week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as Duke and North Carolina will duke it out in hour number 1, and we're going to get things started right away with the Duke Blue Devils and head coach David Cutcliffe. Coach Cut and I have spent a lot of time speaking with each other, either over the phone or with these, interview opportunities in person. I always appreciate and respect Coach Cut, and now I have the opportunity to share this with you. So going into the 2021-2022 season, here is David Cutcliffe here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt, where you're picking up this as well, so you'll get to see them. And of course, here, so very excited to be able to share all of that with you so that you can get them on all of these wonderful channels. And of course, you'll be hearing it on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com. Coach Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Name, image, and likeness is something that is obviously surrounding all of collegiate athletics right now. Being a coach, as you have for so many years around college football, what can you say about what you know of it and what you think of it as we step forward?
I've been fortunate to serve on different NCAA committees, including the Football Oversight Committee. I had a lot of previous conversation. I think it's a great thing that a player has the opportunity to own and build their image. I told our players, name, image, and likeness, we used to call it reputation. Let's not forget that as you build this. The intention is for a player to be able to build an image and benefit from it. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. Through even social media, you don't need representation. You can give private lessons at an appropriate time. What you can't do with name, image, and likeness is get so carried away with it that you erode your image. It can be a dangerous thing. It also should not be a part of the recruiting climate. I winced when I saw a quote from a state legislator that said, "We got to get this law passed. This is hurting us in recruiting." That's not the intent. The intent, again, is ownership that's earned. And that's a fair assessment of life. So I think my job as a coach is to really help parents and players understand, not only once they're in your program, but in the recruiting process. So this is not a good selection of a school based on if that's what you're looking for. That's never been the premium value of college football. It's been my whole life. College football. So I embrace the opportunity. I think it's great. But I think a lot of people are going to have to learn how to manage it. Not just players, families, coaches, media. There's a lot of responsibility to our great game to make sure that we're very good to our players with this in an appropriate manner.
A lot of great stuff is always coming from David Cutcliffe of the Duke Blue Devils, the head coach of the team, who is responsible for training the likes of Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and of course all of the quarterbacks that coming through the years here at Duke as well. Coach Cut is a cut above. And I love what he said when he said name, image, and likeness used to be called reputation. I love that. It used to be called reputation. And that you shouldn't be going to a school because of money. And saying it shouldn't be used as a recruiting tool. That he said that one of the legislative people said, we got to get this passed. It's hurting us in recruiting. He said that can't be what it's for. So he just dove into a bunch of stuff. I really kind of want to sift through this and write an article about it because Coach Cut said so many great things. You know what? I'm going to play it again. So for those of you that may just be tuning in, I'm gonna play this again because I want you to really listen, because when it comes to name, image, and likeness, there's a lot of things that were said here. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play this clip again of my conversation with David Cutcliffe. I really definitely want to share this with you. So, once again here, I want to just bring this to you because what he said was a lot, and I definitely respect it and appreciate it. So I want you to hear it again. Coach Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Name, image, and likeness is something that is obviously surrounding all of collegiate athletics right now. Being a coach, as you have for so many years around college football, what can you say about what you know of it and what you think of it as we step forward?
I've been fortunate to serve on different NCAA committees, including the Football Oversight Committee. Had a lot of previous conversation. I think it's a great thing that a player has the opportunity to own and build their image. I told our players, name, image, and likeness, we used to call it reputation. Let's not forget that as you build this. The intention is for a player to be able to build an image and benefit from it. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. Through even social media, you don't need representation. You can give private lessons at an appropriate time. What you can't do with name, image, and likeness is get so carried away with it that you erode your image. It can be a dangerous thing. It also should not be a part of the recruiting climate. I winced when I saw a quote from a state legislator that said, we got to get this law passed. This is hurting us in recruiting. That's not the intent. The intent, again, is ownership that's earned. And that's a fair assessment of life. So I think my job as a coach is to really help parents and players understand, not only once they're in your program, but in the recruiting process. So this is not a good selection of a school based on if that's what you're looking for. That's never been the premium value of college football. It's been my whole life. College football. So I embrace the opportunity. I think it's great. But I think a lot of people are going to have to learn how to manage it. Not just players, families, coaches, media. There's a lot of responsibility to our great game to make sure that we're very good to our players with this in an appropriate manner.
So many different things said there by Coach Cut, and again, that's why I wanted to play it again and have you get to, for those of you watching, to get to see it again, because there's a lot to really take in here. Name, image, and likeness is a great thing for student athletes to make money off of, who they are, off of their name, image, and likeness. It's a great opportunity for them. Of course it is. Especially with the NCAA having made millions and billions off of them for all this time, it's about dang time that they get a piece of the pot that they have been, kind of forced to give to everybody else. But at the same time, we have to be very cognizant of the fact that, you just have to be smart. You have to be very smart about what's going on right now and about your image, and to not get, it's funny that David Cutcliffe, who's to me a master with words with a lot of this stuff, making the statement of name, image, and likeness, you have to make sure you don't get carried away and erode your image, right? So, kind of the irony of building your name, image, and likeness, but losing your image because of how you've built it and what you've done and getting lost within it. And as he said, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. There's not a lot of answers right now. There's a heck of a lot of questions and really not enough answers to go around. So as we learn about this, as we look to figure this out, it's important to understand that you don't want to erode who you are, and you don't want to erode what you have, And to me, this is really a time for us to try to understand how we can do this. Because you're going from a model where, athletes can't make anything to a model where they can make as much as they want. Those are two wide ends of the spectrum. And in order to close the gap of that, you're going to have to, build some parameters and figure things out, because it is the wild, wild west right now, and that's not what you want it to be. You want it to be something that can make some sense here, something that you can bring together and understand, a centralized message, centralized rules, and that's the thing. By pushing this the way that they've pushed this, they really haven't left the opportunity for us to understand and work this out together. And that is the great unfortunate. But the hope is that at some point we can build some rules here. But how do you build rules once the train's already left the station is the question. And that's kind of the $1 million question. The $1 billion question when we're talking about the NCAA is, how do you put parameters around this once you've already released it into the wild? How can you do it? So, and a good morning to my mama. So, it'll take some time. It'll take some time. And my hope is that this doesn't get away from them before they figure it out. Next up here is Dwayne Carter. Dwayne Carter coming here this morning, defensive tackle of the Duke Blue Devils, speaking on what he learned from Chris and Victor, two guys that were on the defensive line before they moved on to the NFL. This is what Dwayne Carter had to say about that. Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Chris and Victor moved on to the NFL. What did you take away from both of those gentlemen on and off the field?
Yeah, so most importantly, on the field, I took away from both of those guys. Just how they pursue the quarterback, how they pursue the running back, how they just play and give their all every snap, no matter what the score may be. And then off the field, in the film room, I have a very intelligent position coach named Coach Manalo. I'm part of their knowledge of them, and then seeing how they carry themselves in the film room, how they prepare, how they study teams, how they study schemes, how they study individual players. It's just something that kind of stuck with me from day one. So, that's really what I took most away from them.
How to prepare, how to be ready, how to get everything set and ready to go here is what he took away from Chris and Victor on the defensive line. It's always good to take something away from, those around you that are doing things positively, right? You don't want to take something. I guess you could take away from people doing things negatively. Don't do that. But, to take something away from those, to be a sponge, to not think that you're right about everything, that you could do everything, and you don't need anybody's help to kind of realize things. I think it's helpful to see, okay, this is how they attacked it. This is how they went about it. This is what I can learn from it. I think that's fantastic. And I appreciate Dwayne Carter for spending some time with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Coming up next here on the show is Mateo Durant. Mateo Durant, the record for Duke wasn't that appealing last season in 2020, but Mateo Durant did some good things, and I don't want him to go unnoticed. And so he doesn't here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as you'll have the opportunity to hear from Mateo Durant in just a second. But to let you know about what he was able to do last year, he had some big-time games. He had some big-time moments. And, I think that they got overshadowed by the record and how the season went. And I don't want that to happen, which is why I'm taking the time to talk with you about this gentleman and what he was able to bring to the Duke Blue Devils. And as we take a look at this last season for the Duke Blue Devils and Mateo Durant, to really assess how he was last year and what he was able to do for the team statistically, for the Duke Blue Devils, as we look at this, Mateo Durant last season in 2020 was 817 yards rushing on 120 carries, which is 6.8 yards per carry, almost 7 yards a carry, and 8 rushing touchdowns. So a shout out to Mateo Durant for that. And to look at him by the numbers last year, game by game, first and foremost, to just sit there for a second, 6.8 yards rushing, 6.8 yards rushing per attempt, 6.8 on average. Huge. And back in 2020, as we take a look at his game log here, he had 120 yards or 127 yards against Florida State on the road, 9.8 yards a carry and a touchdown. He had 12 yards a carry against North Carolina. North Carolina, a team that has done a lot of good things under Mac Brown. They couldn't stop Mateo Durant. 11 carries for 132 yards, 12 yards per carry against North Carolina, and a touchdown. And then against Charlotte, 104 yards on 12 carries, 8.7 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Against Syracuse on the road in the Dome, 38-24, they won that game. 23 carries, his most carries of any game last season. 163 yards, his most yards of any game last season, and 2 touchdowns, 7.1 yards a carry. He had 7.8 yards a carry against Virginia Tech, 11.8 yards a carry against Boston College. So if you go back and look at his 6.8 yards per carry average last season, we're looking at 6 games where he had at least 7 yards per carry. 7.1, 7.8, 11.8, 9.8, 12.0. Mateo Durant. So, again, I feel like last season's record overshadowed exactly what he put forward, as the team only won 2 games last season. Here's Mateo Durant and what he had to say to me as we get set for this upcoming season.
Mateo, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Going into this season, knowing what you've been able to accomplish already at Duke, but having to share that backfield as you had spoken about, leadership-wise, where have you gained the most skill, so to speak, maybe on and off the field, and what should we expect from you this year?
Leadership-wise, I've grown as a leader, being that I am one of the most experienced backs in our running back room. So I talk to a lot of young players on things that we need on the field and outside the field, because if you act right outside the field, they'll relay over. So we just building more trust and everything. And for the upcoming season, I'm just focused on winning as a team. The individual things will come, but the most important thing is winning.
Individual things will come, but the most important thing is winning. A team player in Mateo Durant here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we start off with the Duke Blue Devils. And we're going to hop right into Gunnar Holmberg, the quarterback of the team, being taught by the mind of David Cutcliffe, who, as I mentioned earlier on in the show today, has taught so many very successful quarterbacks in history. This is what Gunnar had to say to me.
Gunnar, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. David Cutcliffe has known how to train a quarterback or two. What's it like to have this coach at this position for you, knowing everything that he's done historically with quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the main reason I came to Duke was to learn under Coach Cutcliffe. I got to meet Peyton and Eli over the weekend, going to the main passing academy, and just kind of seeing their knowledge on the game. It seems like almost like a mirror. It's all stuff I've heard from Coach Cut. So that was really good to see, just kind of see it coming to fruition, and see just how real it is. And also, learning from Daniel, I think, was really cool. Seeing the way he attacked the film room, seeing the way he works off the field, the way he treated people, I think it was big time. It's all stuff that Coach Cut preaches. So really, just being able to see guys, put it into the real world and put it on the field, I think it's big time. I'm just very grateful to be there.
A lot of praise there from Gunnar Holmberg for Coach David Cutcliffe, and more than reasonable to give that to him because of who he's trained, because Eli Manning, Super Bowl champion, Peyton Manning, Super Bowl champion, multiple Super Bowls for those two gentlemen. Daniel Jones with the Giants, young in his career, drafted 4th overall just a couple seasons ago. And, looking at the fact that he is consistently, even if guys don't end up starting their entire careers or they're a backup or whatever, when they come from David Cutcliffe, they get a shot. It says something about a school that's known as a basketball school in Duke, and no matter what their record is, their quarterbacks get shots in the NFL. They get opportunities in the NFL. They may not keep them forever, but they get them. And I think anybody in the NFL or anybody that's a professional athlete in general will tell you, yeah, you want to get the opportunity and keep it, but to just have it for a second, for a moment, for a game, for a season, it's 1,000,000 times more than what most people have in this world. So that's big. Coming up this season, Duke will start off at Charlotte. They'll face off against North Carolina A&T after that at home. So 2 games they have in the state of North Carolina non-conference, and then they have Northwestern and Kansas at home, and then they'll be at North Carolina on Saturday, October 2nd. Circle that one, the rivalry. Georgia Tech at home, at Virginia, at Wake Forest, Pittsburgh at home, at Virginia Tech, and then Louisville and Miami will round out their season, and so they have that going on. They have a Thursday night game against Louisville on November 18th on ESPN at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, they only won a couple games last season. For the Duke Blue Devils, their losses at Notre Dame, 27-13 when Notre Dame was 10th in the country. Lost to Boston College by 20 in Jeff Hafley's first year as the head coach. Lost at Virginia by 18. Lost at home against Virginia Tech by 7, 38-31. So started off the season 0-4. Then came to Syracuse and got their first win of the season, 38-24. At NC State, they lost after that by 11. Then they defeated Charlotte 53-19 for their second win of the season. And as they started off the season with a 4-game losing streak, they would end last season as a bookend with a 4-game losing streak against North Carolina, against Georgia Tech on the road, Miami at home, and then at Florida State. So 0-4, 0-4, bookends beginning and end of the season, and then in the middle there, defeated Syracuse and Charlotte, and in between that, those two games, lost at NC State to finish off the season 2-9, 1-9 inside of the ACC. We'll take a quick step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will be on the other side of the rivalry as we bring you North Carolina. You're going to hear from Mac Brown, the head coach, as well as their two linebackers, Tamon Fox and Jeremiah Gemmel, will be joining the show right after this, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Head out to Cafe Kubal today. Any one of their locations, 7 locations in our community. Fill your cup today at any one of those awesome locations, as well as try out their fantastic food. The Upstate Sandwich is my favorite. And go out there and get their chocolate chip banana bread and their chocolate chip cookies. Oh my goodness. So many things that they do there are so very good. And of course, my chai at Cafe Kubal is always done right. So shout out to the team at all the Cafe Kubal locations. So we'll be back here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call right after this. Thanks to the Duke Blue Devils, North Carolina, coming up next here on Wake Up Call.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hope you're enjoying your morning this morning as we start off the awesome and amazing, very excited, and I was extremely impatient to do this, start off the Coastal Cruisin week inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Duke, Georgia Tech, Miami, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, Virginia, and Virginia Tech will all be joining the show this week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We have a lot of other things in store for you as well, and the Coastal Cruisin' Week takeover starts this week with Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, and Virginia Tech, the rivals of the state of North Carolina, the rivals of the state of Virginia, and coming up later on in the week, Georgia Tech, Miami, and Pittsburgh will all be featured, and there's a lot of other great stuff coming up, which we'll mention as we go. So, speaking of as we go, it's time to go into North Carolina inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, and so we will jump into my conversation with Mr. Mac Brown as we get set here with North Carolina's Tar Heels on Wake Up Call.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, what have been the pillars of orchestrating such a positive turnaround in North Carolina football, in your opinion?
Dan, number one is we had to have the buy-in from the administration of Cunningham City in here. I don't want to embarrass him, but the university has done everything we've asked them to do. And we promise never to ask for anything that's not going to help the experience of our student athletes or help us win. So one of the reasons we've had continuity with our coaches is we're paying them. And we're paying them at a high level, and that way we're not going to lose them for money. They may have to go to a different place, like Robert Gillespie wanted to look at pros closer to home, so I got it. But we're not having a lot of coaches leave, and that's a positive. Secondly, I challenged our fans to buy in. People said fans aren't coming to the games. I said, come on, fans. If you want to be a great football program, you got to be a great fans. And we sold out every game on 7 teams. I think we sold out every game in 2019, and we've already sold all of our season tickets, which is amazing after the very difficult year most people have had financially over the last year. And then when you recruit a staff that's a high-quality staff that knows the area and fits the school, understands who we are academically, understands who fits at our school, it really helps you in recruiting. And so we have a great product, a great academic school, small campus, it's one of the nicest in the country. We've got a tremendous staff, a real commitment from our administration, and our fan base is all in. And when you put those things together, it makes it for a really special opportunity moving forward.
That coming from Mac Brown here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, to hear from Mac Brown and to say, listen, we have an administration that is working with us, helping us to do the things we need to do, and we're not going to ask for things that we know can't happen. So to say, and we pay our coaches. I love the fact that it was just honest and open. Not like, we have a great atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. Like, you might have a great atmosphere. But the fact that he said it, we pay our coaches. We want them, they're not going to leave because of money. They may leave because they want to be closer to home, but they're not going to leave us because of money. They're not going to leave us because, they're not getting paid enough. Because that happens in other places. That happens, all the time. Where they say, okay, I can make more money here. And so I like the fact that, Mac Brown is saying, listen, there's a lot, because, these coaches don't know, these players don't know what I'm going to ask them ahead of time. So for him to be prepared like that and say, okay, Dan, here's the process. Here's why we're successful. Let me break it down to you. And I love that. I love that. And I love that he took the time to really break that down and to speak about it. Because it's important, because Mac has definitely made an impression, for sure, on the ACC. You look at Mac Brown's been back and what he's been able to do in the time that he's come back has been, and again, this is his second stint with North Carolina, but he was with Texas, he was with North Carolina, and then, he made the decision to go into television. And then he came back after Larry Fedora was fired. And he didn't have to. By any stretch of the imagination, he didn't have to. He was at Tulane, then at North Carolina, then at Texas for a long time. In his 2 seasons back at North Carolina, 2 winning records and 2 bowl games. So he's been to the postseason both seasons that he's been back. 7-6 Military Bowl win. 8-4 last year, lost in the Orange Bowl. 15 wins to 10 losses, 2 winning records since coming back to North Carolina. Huge. When he was in North Carolina before, he brought the team 1-10, 1-10 to 6-4-1, 7-4, 9-3, 10-3, 8-4, 7-5, 10-2, and 10-1. 3 10-win seasons amidst all of that. 5 trips to the bowl games. Won the Peach Bowl, won the Carguest Bowl, and won the Gator Bowl. And then lost the Sun Bowl and lost one of the other Gator Bowl appearances they had back in 1993. Won the one in 1996. So there is no confusion or wonder if Mack Brown returning to North Carolina has paid off positive dividends. And now the question is, can they do what myself and the majority of the media that voted in the ACC preseason poll believe, which is advance to the ACC championship game this year and make it a battle of Carolinas between North Carolina of the Coastal Division and Clemson of the Atlantic? That is the question now. Because I think Miami will be a close second, and so does the majority of the media. So we'll have to see where we go from here as North Carolina gets set on their season. And before we hop out of the North Carolina conversation, I want to get to our linebackers, Tamon Fox and Jeremiah Gemmel. And so Tamon is first here in our conversations heading into the 2021-2022 season. This is what Tamon had to say to me when we had the opportunity to speak with one another going into this season.
Tamon, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Looking at the team this season as you step in, as you heard coaches talk about, you had sugar thrown all over you, you guys wiped it off. You've had the hype, and you've also had the criticism. How do you handle both?
We just try to listen to it. We're all about our work over here at Cavaliers, so we let people talk, we'll take in what they're about, but once it's time to get on that field, we put all that to the side and focus on what's in front of us.
So Mack Brown had said that the team had sugar thrown all over them. You know, that they know what it was like to get all the positive in the media and get all the love and all the accolades, and then to get, you know, the other side of it. You know, to get the not so great side of it. And good morning to Terry. Hope you're doing well. Terry, a big-time Duke fan. But, you know, so that's why I asked Tamon this question, because Mack Brown had said, listen, we know what it was like to have the sugar thrown on us, and then essentially the salt, right? You know, the contesting of it, people getting salty, and then the positive side of it, you know, with the sugar. So I feel like I got some people wanting margaritas this morning now that I'm talking about salt and sugar. But asking Tamon, how do you handle it? You shut it out. Because the reality of it all is, at some point, somebody's going to build up your ego, right? They're going to boost your ego. They're going to tell you that you're awesome and yada, yada, yada. And then at another point, somebody's going to say you're trash, you're garbage, you're not even worth the ground that you stand on, right? And if you let the world dictate to you how you feel about yourself, you're going to be doing this your whole life. You're going to be up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Because you have to know, what is that baseline, right? I'm Dan Tortora. I'm Mack Brown. I'm Tamon Fox. How are you going to live your life? To know who you are. Yeah, you're not going to make every tackle, right? Today, I made mistakes this morning I could have been better at. I could have done things better. My habits could have been better. And so, I know that. But if somebody turns around and tells me, oh, you know, you're the greatest thing ever, Dan, and I let that, you know, just blow my head up, and then I have somebody tell me you're a piece of trash, and then all of a sudden, you know, I want to shut myself down and hide in my house. Your life is going to be a series of just high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. And why live that way? You know, why live that way? So make sure that when you're out there and people are throwing salt at you and sugar at you, that it really doesn't matter. Because the reality of it all is you got to take a shower and get it off of you no matter what. Think about life like that. They throw salt at you, the negative. They throw sugar at you, the positive. You still have to take a shower to wipe it all off. you still have to cleanse yourself of it, be it good or bad. So if you think about life that way, you're not waiting for somebody to throw the sugar at you because you don't want to have to take a shower and clean it all off. So, cleanse yourself of this world's opinions and just go out there and do you. Tamon Fox, great stuff. Coming up next, Jeremiah Gemmel, other linebacker representing North Carolina at the ACC kickoff and here in Coastal Cruisin Week as we cover the Coastal Division of the ACC. It's time to continue with the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Jeremiah up next.
Jeremiah, just, on the other side of things, looking at Sam in practice and what he's able to do, we know from the outside looking in what people say about his game and the expectations this year. What can you say about what you've seen and being as close as you are to him?
I would just say, Sam's a workaholic. He's getting everybody on the offensive side better, but also on the defensive side. When we're doing POPs, you're not going to find many people who can dive in front of the needle and practice like Sam Howell. Some of the guys get frustrated when he gets the ball or gets a good ball on him, let's just pull like a young corner or a nickel who's a year younger to the side. Not every ball is going to be played perfectly like that. Which the balls you're seeing from Sam Howell in practice, not every quarterback in the ACC can throw like that. So I think just him helping us in practice, on Saturdays, Friday night, whatever, when you're going to get sent out in practice, that's going to be true for the game on Saturday.
It's Jeremiah Gemmel talking about his quarterback, Sam Howell, as, Sam is looking to this season be a potential Heisman hopeful. So, and that's what some people have here. So from being on the other side of him in practice, just what he thinks about what Sam Howell's able to do. Now, I want to make a note here on Sam Howell this season, and going into the season, I should say. In 2020, just what he looked like, and this is what Sam had to offer. 3,586 yards. Almost 70% of his passes were completed, 68.1%. Of the 348, he completed 237 of them. 30 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. 30 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Insane. 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, over 3,500 yards passing, almost 70% completion percentage as Sam Howell steps into the season. But I got to tell you, he didn't look that good against Syracuse. He really didn't look that good at the beginning of the season. So I gotta throw that out there, And I'm not trying to say that in a mean way. I just was kind of looking at it like, okay, well, I'm hearing all this stuff about Sam Howell, and then I saw the way that he played against the Orange, and I was like, they trusted in their running game really in that game. Javonte Williams just blew the doors open. I believe he had 3 touchdowns in that game. So I wasn't impressed. But now I look at the numbers at the end of last season, and they are impressing. Very impressive. And the fact that North Carolina balanced, I said impressive is what I meant. But North Carolina was a well-balanced machine. Because here's Sam Howell with 3,500 yards, right? And then you have 2 running backs, not 1, 2 running backs that had over 1,100 yards rushing. Javonte Williams, 1,140. Michael Carter, 1,245. To go with Sam Howell's 3,586 passing. Huge. And how about this? Javonte Williams had 19 touchdowns last season, if you want to throw up. 19 touchdowns. Michael Carter had 9. So amongst these 3 gentlemen, we had 58 touchdowns. Some teams didn't have 58 touchdowns in the season. So, pretty substantial numbers for the North Carolina Tar Heels as they get set for their 2021 schedule. They will be playing Duke on October 2nd, as I had mentioned before. That game will be at home. They'll start the season off at Virginia Tech. So their out-of-conference games are kind of all over the place. They'll play Georgia State after that. They'll play Virginia, Georgia Tech. All of those games are at home. Duke's at home. Florida State's at home. How about this for North Carolina's schedule this year? You want to talk about hoping to set yourself up for success. After playing at Virginia Tech, I mean, now the Georgia Tech game is at a neutral location, but you got Georgia State, Virginia, Duke, Florida State, and Miami all at home. 5 games at home with that Virginia Tech game on September 25th at a neutral location. Then you're at Notre Dame, Wake Forest at home, at Pittsburgh, Wofford at home, and at NC State. And North Carolina making their schedule like the big boys do, like those teams, the second to last. You know that you are a prominent program in college football when your second to last game of the season is up against what they call a cupcake team that you're supposed to defeat. And I don't want to disrespect Wofford in any means, by any means necessary. I'm just making note here that the second to last game of the second to last week of the season, the big dogs in college football, they play up against teams that they're confident they're going to defeat. And North Carolina scheduled Wofford with every intention, I'm sure, of winning that game. Now, again, I don't want to take any respect away from Wofford because I respect them. I respect their commissioner. I'm just making a statement that North Carolina is making their schedule in such a way like the Alabamas of the world do. I do want to make mention last year, the team went 8-4, 7-3 inside of the ACC. And looking back on this, they defeated Syracuse, their first game of the season, 31-6. So started 3-0 against Syracuse at BC and against 19th ranked Virginia Tech at home. They lost a game to Florida State, which not many teams could say they did last year. That was a head-scratcher moment for them as they were ranked, I think, like 5th in the nation when they lost 31-28 at Florida State. They came back and defeated NC State, ranked 23 in the country, lost to Virginia 44-41 on the road, defeated Duke on the road, defeated Wake Forest at home 59-53 in a shootout, lost to Notre Dame when they were ranked number 2 in the nation 31-17, and that was at home. Defeated West Carolina 49-9, and at Miami won 62-26, and then lost to Texas A&M in the Orange Bowl 41-27 against the old ACC coach Jimbo Fisher, who used to be at Florida State. So some irony that Mac Brown lost to Florida State and Florida State's old coach in the same season. So something, just a little interesting note there. Team still went 8-4 and still had a good year, but I feel like North Carolina's got more in the tank than an 8-4 season. Just saying. So, with that being said, speaking of having more in the tank, hour number 2, Virginia and Virginia Tech. The battle between Charlottesville and Blacksburg happens next on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we are well inside of the Coastal Cruisin week this week. So many great things coming up on Wake Up Call, including hearing from all 7 institutions of the Coastal Division of the ACC. Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, and Virginia Tech today, and later on in the week, Georgia Tech, Miami, and Pittsburgh will all be joining Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios where sports meets life. And we'll be back right after this for you to hear from Virginia and Virginia Tech as we have plenty coming up with their coaches as well as their student-athlete representatives heading into the 2021-2022 season. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Very proud to be here with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and great messages coming from Jimmer Sikowski. By the way, today I'm very excited. We do a segment with Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay entitled The Light Between Us, where I get to speak with team members from Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay that work under Jimmer Sikowski, work with Jimmer Sikowski, and I know he would want me to say that as much as he's the owner-operator. He's extremely humble. So I have the great privilege to speak with his team members and to get their story about faith, their journey, why are they working at Chick-fil-A, what does it mean to the community, why are they happy to be here. And so Tyler Perouse is going to be joining us tonight for a very special segment, The Light Between Us. That video will be airing at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. And I wanted to make mention of that, as you just heard from Jimmer here in the fast break. So, inside the Cafe Kubal studios, we continue Coastal Cruisin Week, and we do it with Blacksburg and Charlottesville, Virginia and Virginia Tech, Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, and I have the opportunity to share with you as we get set for the season my Q&As with the gentlemen of Virginia and Virginia Tech. We're going to start things off with Bronco Mendenhall assessing his 5 years and change at Virginia. I can't believe he's been at Virginia for 5 years. Makes me feel old because I remember when he got hired, and I feel like that was 2 years ago. Bronco Mendenhall speaking on his 5 seasons and change at Virginia, coming up right now.
Coach Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. 5 years and change now as you head into year number 6. Just what you can say about assessing these last 5 years and what you've seen out of yourself, as well as what you've seen from what your plan was when you came in.
Yeah, assessment and development of the growth and progress. In terms of the timing, I expected our year 2 to be year 1. So year 1 in Charlottesville was 2-10. Year 2 was return to postseason. Year 3 was the bowl game victory. Year 4 was the Coastal Championship, and then to the Orange Bowl, which is a pretty aggressive ascent in 4 years. I'm not sure where to put the COVID year right now, other than its own category. But really, I would view it as if we were going to a play where we've seen Act 1, 4 years with the COVID, not necessarily the intermission, but some different category. And now Act 2 is coming, which is the next 4 years. So I think aggressive success, incremental improvement, and now to apply the learnings from the COVID year will really determine the next 4 years, including one coming up.
You know, you look back at this COVID year and just what it's done, right? And it is kind of an asterisk year. I mean, it is. You know, it's confusing because it depends on how teams dealt with it. You know, Syracuse got to play their entire season. They were one of the few teams that didn't have to reschedule anything. And so, which was kind of a little nerve-wracking their first game, because here I am in the Dome, and and they had stopped us, and I think it was like 37 or 38 minutes late the game started because they had to retest a few people. And so that was a little nerve-wracking for me, because I'm sitting here going, okay, here we are hoping that we get a full season, and the first game at home is kind of like on pause. But they did play it, obviously, and I was there for it, obviously. So, you know, it was good to see. Last year for the Virginia Cavaliers, speaking on this COVID year, looking at their schedule last season in 2020, the team went 5-5, 500 record, 4-5 inside of the ACC. They defeated Duke in their first game of the season at home. They lost their next 4 games at Clemson, who is number 1 in the country, 41-23, against NC State, at Wake Forest by 17, and they lost to number 11 Miami 19-14. They would bounce back and defeat number 15 ranked North Carolina 44-41, as I mentioned before. Postpone a game against Louisville for a week later from the 7th to the 14th of November. Defeated Louisville at home 31-17. Abilene Christian by 40. They won that game at home. And then they defeated Boston College 43-32. And that was at home, and lost at Virginia Tech in their rivalry game at the end of the season 33-15. So, win a game, lose 4 in a row, win 4 in a row, lose a game. So they literally bookended their season as well. When I was speaking about bookends a little bit earlier with Duke, they bookended their season in a different way. Start off with a win, end with a loss, 4-game losing streak, 4-game winning streak. So it was like the mirror image, but the opposite, the 180 of it. So kind of interesting to see it that way for Virginia, to say, okay, start off 1-4, end 4-1, and do it the same way. So on the streaks in between. So, you know, Virginia, not a bad season, but obviously you want to do better, especially in a 4-game losing streak situation. So Virginia, coming from Bronco Mendenhall, his words to start off this 2021-2022 season. Coming up next is Joey Blunt. Joey Blunt and I had the opportunity to speak about what he can say about his story with Bronco Mendenhall. And Joey has a very interesting story to tell. So if you don't know Joey Blunt, this is a great time to get to know him here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm very excited to share this with you.
Joey, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Bronco, just what he's meant to this team, what he means to you as a leader, and what you can say it is to be in a locker room with Bronco Mendenhall.
I mean, Coach Mendenhall means the world to me. He gave me an opportunity to come to UVA and showcase my abilities. I have a quick story about Coach Mendenhall that I'll share real fast. I remember being recruited at UVA, and it was like a junior day visit. Happened all the time. Came to the basketball game. Pretty sure it was UVA versus Duke North Carolina. stadium with my dad, and Coach Mendenhall was talking with my dad, and he handed me a sheet of paper to read out loud. So of course I was nervous reading in front of my head coach. I wanted to make sure my words were right, I wasn't stumbling and everything. I read this document with my dad, and after we went to the last paragraph, it just stated, we want to offer you a full academic full scholarship, essentially, at the University of Virginia. I remember looking up in that moment, looking at my dad was crying, I'm crying, Coach Mendenhall was just proud, just smiling at me, saying that it's just not about football here, but it's about becoming an all-around man, a good human being. And at that moment I felt like there was more purpose in life than just football. And it's been a constant struggle, honestly, with football, ups and downs, trying to find purpose in that, but Coach Mendenhall really meant the world to me. It still does. It's giving me opportunities day in, day out to be the best person I can be.
Speaking on that story with Bronco Mendenhall and sharing that, with us about, his dad and Bronco and the connection that he's had. And, Bronco meaning something to this program. Listen, Mike London had the program beforehand, and I had a good relationship with Mike London, and I don't want to take anything away from Mike. The program was struggling. And so for Bronco to take this thing over and come in here and give it a shot, right, and see what he could do. We look back on Bronco Mendenhall's coaching career and where he was and where he is. And, to me, what he's done with Virginia, as we take a look at this, coming over from BYU, where he spent his entire time coaching before Virginia. He was at BYU for numerous seasons, over a decade at BYU. 11 years in total. Went 6-6, 11-2 in back-to-back years, 10-3, 11-2, 7-6, 10-3, 8-5, 8-5, 8-5, and 9-4. He did not have a single losing season at BYU. In his first season as a head coach, he was 6-6. At Virginia, he went 2-10 when he took over the program, then 6-7, 8-5, 9-5, and then 5-5 in a COVID year. So he's definitely seen the team rise outside of Corona last year. 3 bowl games they've gotten to, the Military Bowl, the Belk Bowl, and the Orange Bowl. They won one of those. They won the Belk Bowl. Lost the other 2, but still getting to the postseason. Something to be said. I mean, Virginia was not a team going to the postseason before Bronco Mendenhall came in that recent history. They weren't elevating anywhere. So, and they were kind of in a place where, they were the team you could beat up on in the ACC. And now they're trying to hold their own. Well, you heard from Joey on the defensive side. On the offensive side, they got 2 quarterbacks. 2 guys that can line up under center this year, and Brennan Armstrong and Keaton Thompson. And very excited to have you listen in to both of these gentlemen as we get things started. Also very excited for you to see Keaton's bow tie. So we'll put Keaton Thompson. So we'll make sure that we get that up here for you. Brennan Armstrong coming up first here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, in our conversation inside of Coastal Cruisin Week with the Coastal Division of the ACC.
Brendan, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Going off of that, just what KT does for this offense and the ability to utilize you both, just how multi-layered and how dangerous does that make you? How would you describe it?
I mean, it's dangerous. It's hard to prepare for. I feel like with him, do a lot of stuff. Maybe a hop quarterback, maybe when you hop out of quarterback, just little things like that. Just hard to prepare for. Different motions with him coming in the backfield, leading the backfield. There's a lot of stuff that can go on, especially if he can do it all. Run, throw, rush, doesn't matter. So it's just a hard thing for teams to prepare for, and we're doing that to that's our ability. I think that it's hard for teams to prepare for.
Brendan talking about the fact that him and Thompson are going to be out there, making it hard for defenses to prepare for them because of what looks they can show between the two of them. So it's time to, speaking of looks, go to that bow tie of Mr. Thompson and hear from him.
Keaton, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. You're a wild card of this offense. Just bring me into what you can do. Brendan spoke about it a little bit, but just what you're looking forward to and what you truly bring to 2021.
Appreciate it, and I can do whatever you need to do. That's the whole idea. So just going out there and taking whatever my coach is giving me and really be humble about it, really focusing on attention to detail. And just taking the coaching. I feel like we have a great set of coaches. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without our coaches, and they coach me, to do my task the right way. I'm just able to, pick up on that and go on with it and execute on the field. So I think it's a big credit to my coaches for just being able to coach me to do all of this things.
I love the energy. I love the positivity. I love the smile, and I love that I can do whatever you need me to do. I love that. What can you do on the field? Whatever you need. So that's got to be a coach's dream right there for Bronco Mendenhall, having Keaton Thompson on the team. I can do whatever you need me to do, Coach. Whatever you want, whatever you need, I'm here. So really good stuff coming from the Virginia Cavaliers. And as I mentioned to you, kind of what they had going on last season, to take a look at this season and where everything sits for them this year, to see them, this is how it looks in 2021. They'll face off against William and Mary to start off the season on September 4th at home. Illinois non-conference Big Ten game will be at home, and then they'll be at North Carolina, Wake Forest at home, at Miami, at Louisville, Duke at home, Georgia Tech at home, at BYU. So Bronco will get to face off against his old school on October 30th on Saturday, the day before Halloween, which is on a Sunday this year. Kind of cool for the kids. And then hopefully they'll be able to go out and actually get to enjoy Halloween safely this year. Notre Dame at home, at Pittsburgh, and then their rivalry game at home in Charlottesville against Virginia Tech. So Saturday, November 27th. Big time stuff coming up for the Virginia Cavaliers. And on the other side of that rivalry, the Virginia Tech Hokies. They'll be coming up next right after this fast break, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So stay right here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And actually, in the meantime, while you watch or listen to the show, make sure that you head over to the Cafe Kubal location nearest you, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, downtown inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital. And you can also get them at 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant brown behemoth of a building where all the roads converge to welcome you into Manlius. You will find Cafe Kubal with a all-new expanded parking lot. And you can also get to them on their first ever drive-through location, and that's on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, a.k.a. Sweetheart Corners. So make sure you head over there. Some nostalgia for the people in Central and Upstate New York. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside, and for the first time ever, you'll hear from our newest partner, Progressive Dental. Progressive Dental, with 5 locations in the southern tier, Binghamton, Endwell, Endicott area of the state of New York, about an hour south of Syracuse. In the southern tier, Progressive Dental, there for you. And here is their message coming up inside of this fast break, with so much more from our great partners in Central and Upstate New York. We'll be back with Virginia Tech right after this.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every single time. Make your way out to the Millhouse Market today. I should say every Tuesday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Make sure you download the app before you head out there so you have everything at your fingertips from the Google Play or Apple App Store. You can download their app today by searching Millhouse Market, and that will give you their entire menu of everything that they have to offer, from their homemade breads and salads to their desserts, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, there is nothing like the Millhouse Market. And that app will also give you directions from wherever you are to get to the Millhouse Market. So keeping it simple, keeping it easy, and extremely user-friendly. The Millhouse Market, open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And when I say open, they're there for you with their general store as well as their drive-through window where you don't have to get out of the car, just grab your food and go, and their indoor dining as well. The general store filled with not only their products, but products from companies locally all throughout central and upstate New York, helping our community and helping one another. The Millhouse Market sets itself apart in so many ways, all positive and all good for our community of central and upstate New York. So make sure you head out there today. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every single time. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, a very big welcome to Progressive Dental for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, our newest partners here. Progressive Dental, you can go to progressivedentalny.com to get more information today. That's progressivedentalny.com to get more information about who they are and where they are and how you can get in touch with them. So make sure you head out there today and connect with them and obviously search it online. Progressive Dental there for you. So progressivedentalny.com. Check that out today. And as you heard Sonny Spira say, multiple locations here in our community. And you can call 607-754-2273. That's 607-754-2273. 888-866-8273. So you could definitely reach out to them and get in touch with them today if you have a question. And the Progressive Dental website, very user-friendly here, progressivedentalny.com. So make sure you check them out. Locations in Binghamton, Endwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. 5 locations in the southern tier of our great state of New York. So welcome to the family, and much appreciation to each and every single one of you. Coming up next here inside of the Cafe Cubal Studios as we continue Coastal Cruisin' Week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It's time to hop into Virginia Tech. The Hokies are next up inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Make sure that you head to Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com today. That's and spelled out A-N-D, Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com. Check it out today. Use the promo code DT20. That's DT20 to get 20% off of all of your online orders. So if you live in the community and you order online to pick up in the store, you get 20% off. And if you are also looking to order it and have it shipped to any one of the 50 states, you can get 20% off as well. So as long as you order online at maandpaspopcorn.com, you will get 20% off your online order by using my personal promo code DT20. That is DT20. So make sure that you use that today at maandpaspopcorn.com. So, Virginia Tech coming up next here for Coastal Cruisin' Week. The Coastal Cruisin' Week takeover of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the ACC's Coastal Division, all throughout the week. You've heard from Duke, North Carolina, and Virginia. Today you'll hear from Virginia Tech, and later on in the week you'll hear from Georgia Tech, Miami, and Pittsburgh. All coming up where sports meets that thing called life. The first one up for Virginia Tech, I had a couple questions with the head coach, Justin Fuente. First one on the docket with Justin Fuente of the Hokies is his assessment of his 5 years and change at Virginia Tech. So just like Bronco Mendenhall has been there for 5 seasons and change, so has Justin Fuente. The rivalry of the great state of Virginia has both of the coaches heading into year number 6, and this is what Justin Fuente had to say.
Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call, DT.com. Coach, just assessing your 5 seasons at Virginia Tech and some change now as you step forward here, so a little over 5 years, just how you would assess that as you step into year 6.
Well, it's certainly been interesting. Each job and deal is different and unique. After our first 2 years, I had a very honest, really good conversation with our athletic director and talked to him. We had 19 games in 2 years, and I said, you didn't bring me here for these past 2 years. You brought me for what we're about to go for. Because I knew that we were not in good shape. We're in the process of trying to build facilities. We had some issues on our roster that were going to take some time to get through. We've now completed many of those facilities. We're now expanding our support staff for our players and recruiting. And now starting to get into having an older team. And I really felt great a year ago about exactly where we were and what we were doing, and the status of our football team. A variety of factors obviously have affected that, but I still feel the same way. And I'm really excited to see this football team play and kick this season off.
That coming from Justin Fuente here. Excited to see the team move forward and get some things done, facilities and different pieces that they needed to come together so that they can move forward in a positive way at Virginia Tech outside of the Frank Beamer era. So that coming from Justin Fuente. Looking at his time so far at Virginia Tech in these 5 seasons as he steps into year number 6. We did the exact same thing with Bronco Mendenhall in this rivalry looking at Virginia. Well, looking at Virginia Tech and Justin Fuente, how he's looked so far, coming off of building a lot of success at Memphis before Mike Norvell went there, who is now in the ACC as well as Justin Fuente, him on the other side in the Atlantic with Florida State heading into year number 2. And so looking back at Memphis, his first head coaching stint, 4-8, 3-9, 10-3, 9-3 when he left, and he won the Miami Beach Bowl in his third season there in 2014, 10-3. And then Virginia Tech coming off there, he's been 10-4, 9-4, 6-7, 8-5, and 5-6. So started off at Virginia Tech high, won the Belk Bowl, and pushed Clemson in the only ACC championship game of recent history, not in the great state of North Carolina. They had it in Orlando, Florida at the Camping World Bowl, Camping World Stadium in Orlando, where Syracuse would face off against West Virginia shortly after in their Camping World Bowl victory with Eric Dungey's final game, the Swan Song, a great Swan Song for Dungey. Well, I was on site on location before that Syracuse-West Virginia Camping World Bowl game to this, for this ACC championship game between Clemson and Virginia Tech, where Virginia Tech pushed them to the brink. And if they had 5 more minutes, some crazy things could happen, which could have kept Clemson from getting into the college football playoff. I don't want to say crazy things, but Virginia Tech was in a place where Deshaun Watson had to make these throws late, and Deion Kane and Hunter Renfrow had to have fantastic hands to bail out Deshaun Watson to get Clemson the victory. Virginia Tech was pushing them, and with 5 more minutes, I feel like they potentially could have caught him. And that was in the first season for Justin Fuente to go to the ACC championship game and win the Coastal. So when you do that in your first year, expectations are very, very high. Well, in the second year, 9-4, not too bad, okay. But then 6-7 and 8-5, fans start to get a little bit testy. 5-6 last year. Now, they've been to 4 bowl games in his 5 seasons at Virginia Tech, but they've lost the last 3. Belk Bowl win, and then the Camping World Bowl they lost, the Military Bowl they lost, and the Belk Bowl when they went back in 2019 they lost. So fans wanting to see some positive things here come from Justin Fuente. I don't believe he can have a losing season. He might be able to get away with one more. I don't know, potentially not. But he can't have a losing season, can't have a 500 record. Definitely, I would say, has to get this team on the winning side of things, go to a bowl game in order to keep his job. I don't know if he necessarily has to win it, but I think he has to get to one. So I think fans are sitting here from Blacksburg going, no, Dan, he needs to win it. So, which I understand. I understand your frustration. I get it. So I like Justin Fuente. I'm a fan of his, been a fan of his since he was over at Memphis. So I'm hoping that he gets things turned around and makes it happen because I definitely want to see him succeed. And Justin Fuente and I got to speak on name, image, and likeness as well heading into the season, and this is what he had to say.
Coach, name, image, and likeness, obviously something that every team is kind of navigating through right now in each conference and in each state. How do you kind of look at name, image, and likeness, and what are you trying to say to the student athletes to guide them a little bit and have some leadership?
Well, certainly it's uncharted waters. I think there's a lot of good that can come from this, and I think there's a lot of bad that can come from this too if we're not careful. I do not want to, and our mission with our young people is to help them capitalize on whatever special skills and talents that they may have in the way that we're allowed to help them. Certainly we're restricted dramatically about what we can, how involved we can get. And there are some people with those special talents, and I don't think anybody feels negatively about their opportunity to go capitalize on that. I just don't want us to lose. I don't want us to lose sight of what's important. I don't want us to lose sight of the long-term game here with our young people, and that's their education. And doesn't mean that we can't have a good time along the way, and guys and gals can't make some money along the way, but I don't want it to take away from our long-term mission, which is education of these young people. So we try to bring the focus in on that and help them. We have, the software, the systems, and all that sort of stuff to help them with their social media accounts. And, we're in a pretty cool position. I mean, we are the number 1 sports brand in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have 250,000 alumni that are anxious to help engage our players in ways that are legal now that can benefit them hopefully in the long term.
So Justin Fuente talking about the fact that you don't want to lose what is collegiate athletics, and at the same time you want to capitalize in the ways that you can, capitalize in the right ways, because now you have an opportunity to get some money for these players. And mentioning the Virginia Tech 250,000 alumni and just what they can bring to the table and that they want to get involved with the players. And now, to do that in the correct fashion, which has got, big time quotation, in the correct fashion. Very important to specify that, to get involved, that there is a world where, these kids can make some money off their name, image, and likeness, and they can brand themselves, and there's something that can come of this that could be helpful. So, but I agree. I agree with Justin Fuente. I don't want to get rid of the purity of the game, the beauty of the game, the teamwork of the game, and the fact that this is, supposed to be something that is, more than the money. You're supposed to do it for the love of the game. And so my hope is, I don't know how we do it, but my hope is that we don't lose it. That we don't lose this connection between love of the sport and the student athlete. That it doesn't just become a rat race for money. And that's my hope. I'm not saying I don't want them to capitalize, because the NCAA has capitalized off of them forever. I'm a purist too, and I don't want this to become more of a me society than a we society. I think it's become a me society enough. And I don't think we need to go further in that direction if we want to have any type of positive future as a human race, I would say. So, with that being said, coming from Justin Fuente, now time to get into my conversations with the players. Braxton Burmeister is going to be up next here, the quarterback of the team. And this is what Braxton had to say when I had the opportunity to speak with him heading into the season.
Braxton, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. A more prominent role for you this season. How would you describe yourself as a leader? What can you say about truly taking over this offense?
This offseason has really helped with that whole process, and having spring ball this year, being around my guys every single day, I think that I've really evolved as a leader and learned how to communicate better and just kind of take ownership of the whole offense. And I think the guys around me see that and are giving me that opportunity to do so.
So Braxton Burmeister talking about taking over the offense and putting himself in a situation, in a leadership role where he can do what needs to be done. I mean, now he's the guy. Now it's his time to step up and be the guy. He came from Oregon and spent 2 seasons in Oregon, 2017, 2018. And then in 2020, he had 48 completions on 84 attempts, 57% completion percentage, 57.1, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception for Virginia Tech. We saw him out there sparingly. He played in 5 games. He attempted 22 passes against Virginia, 12 against Clemson, 15 against North Carolina, 24 against Duke, and 11 against NC State, finishing the season with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 687 yards. Now he goes into the season as their quarterback, and we'll see what Braxton Burmeister can do as he steps forward. Looking at one of his weapons, James Mitchell, the tight end, I had the opportunity to speak with him about the offense under the leadership of Braxton Burmeister, and this is what James Mitchell had to say.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. James, just what you can say about the offense under Braxton, the confidence that you have in him, and maybe defining his leadership as you step into the season.
Yes, sir. I would say one thing about him, he's definitely a confident player. When he steps in the huddle, he's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He knows how to get guys behind him and play for him. And, since spring, since we got full spring, full summer, he's really stepped up with his communicating and just trying to lead guys and stuff like that. And he came in last year against Clemson late. He started the season and came in against Clemson and UVA. And, I thought he played really well at the end there with
So James Mitchell saying, hey, listen, I think, him stepping in late in the season, I thought he did good. So, speaking on Braxton Burmeister, the quarterback, that coming from your tight end, saying, I think he did some good things. Against Clemson, he went 10 of 12 for 127 yards, 83.3% completion percentage in a loss. And in a win over Virginia, 15 of 22, 212 yards, 68.2% completion percentage, a touchdown and no picks, and 7 carries for 36 yards, 5.1 yards carry. Listen, when you step in at any point and you win a rivalry game, that's going to give you some love. Braxton Burmeister ends last season helping to defeat Virginia at home in Blacksburg, Virginia, to win in that rivalry of Virginia Tech, 33-15. You step in a game like that, you win in a game like that, you move forward, there's some good stuff to be said. So I think you definitely build off your success of winning a rivalry game at the end of the season, as James Mitchell mentioned his quarterback, Braxton Burmeister, coming in last season and doing some good things at the end of the season. Coastal Cruisin' Week, continuing on here, Virginia Tech. Final conversation I have with Virginia Tech and final conversation of the day is with Shamari Connor. Shamari Connor on the team as a defensive back. I had the opportunity to speak with him heading into 2021-2022. This is what he had to say.
Shamari, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com, is one of the returning starters in the secondary. Just what you can say about the back of the Virginia Tech defense, how you assess the entire secondary as you step into 2021.
I'm very excited for our secondary. Actually, we got a lot of guys back. We got a lot of guys that have a lot of experience over last year. And, we got a lot of guys moving around. We got a lot of depth, much more depth in our safety room, in our cornerback room.
Speaking there on the depth, a lot more depth in guys moving around. Shamari Connor saying that about the defensive back world of Virginia Tech here. Looking at the secondary, his assessment of the back end of the Virginia Tech defense for the Hokies as they step in to the 2021-2022 season. And as we go back and we look at Virginia Tech here and how they were last season, as far as, points given up and whatnot, you hope that the defense always is. You hope that anything in life is always going in the right direction. The team ended 5-6, 5-5 in the ACC, and gave up 45 points to Clemson, 47 to Pittsburgh on the road. The Clemson game was at home, 38 to Liberty in a loss there. Liberty had never defeated an ACC team in their history of existence as a football program. Syracuse was the first ACC team they've ever defeated, and they did that on the road. Then they went on the road to Virginia Tech and did it again, beat another ACC team. So after never having a win against an ACC school in the history of their college football team, the Liberty Flames defeated 2 in 1 year, and they defeated Syracuse first as their first ever win against the ACC, and then second, Virginia Tech, and they did both of them on the road. And so Virginia Tech giving up 38 points to them in a 38-35 loss. They gave up 35 points to Louisville, but they won that game 42-35. They gave up 56 on the road to North Carolina. And so obviously looking for that depth to help you out and do some better things here. Obviously it's not all in the secondary, but you're hoping that you can minimize some of these point totals and put yourself in a better situation as you step forward. And getting that win over Virginia in the rivalry game at the end of the season, hoping that you can do that again as you go. Now, Braxton Burmeister on one side at quarterback, and on the other side, Brennan Armstrong and Keaton Thompson having a dual-headed threat that you have there. So, it'll be interesting to see that game, Virginia Tech, at the end of the season. I'm excited to see that at the end of this regular season, and I appreciate them all coming on and speaking here. So, Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, and Virginia Tech, the battle of the state of North Carolina, the battle of the state of Virginia. Both of these rivalries and all 4 of these teams, I want to thank so very much for being a part of today's wake-up call with Dan Tortora. I want to give a big shout-out and a big thank you to David Cutcliffe, Mateo Durant, Dwayne Carter, and Gunnar Holmberg of Duke, North Carolina's Tamon Fox and Jeremiah Gemmel, as well as head coach Mac Brown. And I want to thank Brennan Armstrong, Keaton Thompson, Joey Blunt, and Bronco Mendenhall of Virginia, as well as Justin Fuente, Braxton Burmeister, Shamari Connor and James Mitchell of Virginia Tech for being a part of today's broadcast to start off the Coastal Division takeover of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with Coastal Cruisin' Week. We'll take our final step aside and get you set for the rest of the week right after this. Inside the Cafe Kubal Studios. Avicoli's here for you on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Make sure you make your way over there to Avicoli's Tuesday through Sunday, open for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Lunch, dinner, and drinks. You can enjoy them so many different ways at Avicoli's by going to their more casual pizza dining side, or you can go to their fine dining side. You can also go to their bar, and of course to their outdoor dining with the beautiful weather we've been having in central and upstate New York and our seasonable warmer weather we've been having. So make sure you head out to Avicoli's Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks and enjoy the pizza casual side, the fine dining side, as well as the bar and outdoor dining. You can also get out to Avicoli's through takeout, delivery, and catering. 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100 for Avicoli's. And you can go to myavicolis.com for more information, as well as going out there every month to see our Liverpool Warriors exclusive sit-down show that we do live on-site on location at Avicoli's. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, there for you. The dog daycare on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. And right around the corner on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, you'll find Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Get to both of them today for true, beautiful, consistent, kind care for our dogs in our community. When we have to drop off the dog for the day, or we're going out of town, going on vacation, whatever's going on, Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, two perfect venues for you to drop off your furry loving friend and show them the appreciation for being a local company that is truly an extension of our family. All of us that truly love our dogs, we know that they're a part of the family. They're like our kids, our brothers, our sisters, whatever it may be. Our dogs mean the world to us. And so when you have to drop them off somewhere, you're always a little bit hesitant, a little bit nervous. Well, Lorraine, Heather, Chad, and the entire team at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding not only do a fantastic job taking care of Lily, but they do a fantastic job of taking care of all of our dogs in the community over the year. So make sure you get in touch with them today. Canine Camp Dog Daycare. You can get more information by going to k-9kamp.com, and for the campground, k-9kampground.com. Press Box, or PB&J's Lunchbox, located on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. You love their food truck, and you go all over the community to central and upstate New York and follow this food truck around for their grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, for their Philly cheesesteak wraps, and the cheese sauce, and so much more. PB&J's Lunchbox, bringing it to you. Now you can go to them Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find them open on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York for their Street Side Cafe, and that is minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway. Head out to PB&J's Lunchbox today and give your taste buds what they want. PB&J's Lunchbox, 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, located on 791 West Genesee Street in Skinny Atlas, New York. Minutes from beautiful Skinny Atlas Lake. You could find your way over there and have them help you from head to toe. Whatever your injury may be, they treat all different injuries, and they are there for rehab and physical therapy, preventative care, as well as surgery. And from the top all the way through their entire business, led by Dr. Mark Petropoli, they do a few things that you won't find in many places, in many doctors' offices. They listen to their patients, and they care about every single step of the way, and they guide you through it. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, I've trusted for almost a decade to help me move forward each step toward victory, and I'm better today than I was yesterday. And thanks to Dr. Mark Petropoli and the entire team at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, I can proudly send you there myself. Any injury from head to toe, call them up today, 315-685-7544. That's 315-685-7544. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, I want to thank all my guests on the show today. Big shout out to Duke, the Duke Blue Devils, the North Carolina Tar Heels, the Virginia Cavaliers, and the Virginia Tech Hokies to start off Coastal Cruisin Week. Coastal Cruisin Week happening this week in the ACC's Coastal Division takeover of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You still will hear from the likes of Georgia Tech as well as Miami and Pittsburgh. From Georgia Tech, you'll be hearing from head coach Jeff Collins, as well as linebacker Ayinde Ely. You'll hear from Wanye Thomas, defensive back, and their quarterback Jeff Sims. From Miami, you'll be hearing from Michael Harley Jr., their wide receiver, and you'll hear from quarterback De'Ara King. And from the Pitt Panthers, you'll be hearing from their wide receiver Jordan Addison, Deslin Alexander, their defensive end, quarterback Kenny Pickett, and of course, Mr. Pat Narduzzi, their head coach. So, plenty coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from Coastal Cruisin Week, the ACC's Coastal Division takeover of the show. And of course, you'll also bi-monthly, every other Tuesday, you hear Sports Ends in a Vowel with Gina Castelli. That's coming up tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. The Ingredients to Success at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time, brought to you by the wonderful people at Avicoli's. And at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll hear On the Mark with Shamarko Thomas, Syracuse, and NFL defensive back alum. Fantasy Football Power Hour will be coming up this week for you as well with Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com and Winning Fantasy Football Facebook group. You can join today for free on Facebook by searching Winning Fantasy Football. And, of course, a lot of other great things coming up. Papa Joe will be back on the broadcast every Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we will have the Annoying Moment of the Week, the Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, and, of course, the Top Dog of the Week. All three signature segments on TGIF. Annoying Moment of the Week brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. Lead brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, featuring Juanita Ward and myself, Dan Tortora. And the Top Dog of the Week announcement coming to you from Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Along with all of that, some other cool surprises I have for you in connection to Syracuse. So you're going to have to keep listening in to find out what those are going to be and watching the show. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. That's the quickest way to find out the news first. And, as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. From the Cafe Kubal Studios, this is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you are